Right, guys, I feel like a kid at Christmas. Tomorrow is the big day. It feels like we've been waiting months, mainly because we have been waiting months for the big Champions League draw. We've got Scott and Asim on. Scott, how does a player feel leading up to the Champions League draw?
Excited. I remember the first time I was involved in it. I actually think I was out with my father, who was over at the time, in TGI Fridays watching the draw. Can you believe in the chemistry? So it still rings well in terms of seeing the draw come through, and obviously they make a big deal out of it now in terms of the whole ceremony, don't they? So it seems to take forever to actually for everyone to come out the pots, but it's exciting, and hopefully we'll see some different sides come to Celtic Park this season than what we have done in previous years. I know everyone's shouting out. I said it early on, didn't I? I said Real Madrid this time round. I think even Callum McGregor said it, so that would be nice. But then again, you go in it from a selfish perspective, and you would like some of the lesser teams as well to give you a better opportunity of going further in the actual competition.
Yeah, I think we'll chat about this right at the end. We'll get your dream and your nightmare scenarios. You don't watch it together then with your teammates?
No, never did at that point. I think it was too late in the afternoon anyway. I think everyone was off doing their thing. It was on a Friday when it was getting drawn back in my day. So and on the Friday, you probably, sort of trying to rest up, concentrate for the weekend and what was going to happen. So, but no, certainly not. In my time, did we all watch it together? That's for sure.
Awesome. Weekend, we beat Hearts. We had you on after the game. You've had a couple of days to kind of think about the game. What's your thoughts now looking back at the 2-0 win over Hearts?
Yeah, I think like we said at the time as well, it wasn't our best performance of the season, but it's against one of the better teams that we'll face, and it was a 2-0 victory. So it's similar to the kind of Aberdeen game as well. I thought where we played well first half and then tailed off a bit in the second, but having kind of watched it back as well, I don't think we were bad. I think we said at the time, I don't think we were bad. We were just maybe a bit slow coming out in the second half, but given the circumstances against one of the better teams in the league, we'll take that all day long. And the fact that we obviously managed to get a lead on our rivals as well. So yeah, more than happy with the 2-0 victory, and I think we're still to click into top gear. I think we've seen spells of that in the Kilmarnock game away, where we were brilliant to watch. But I think in the home games we've still to really fully click into gear. But I think that will come as well. And four wins out of four, you definitely can't ask for much more than that.
Well, you would think you couldn't, but I think a lot of supporters, and I include myself in this, maybe wanting a tiny bit more. Scott, are we being unrealistic?
A little bit in terms of where Celtic are in terms of their preparation for this season. It's a lot behind where they've been naturally in seasons gone by because of the competitive games that they've played up to this point. So I think it's going to take them a little bit longer to get to those levels that you actually want them to get to. I think that's what we've got to remember. Pre-season was a lot more lower key in terms of what it has been naturally in recent seasons. So I think as it goes on, this is a good thing. And if you're winning and you're not quite clicking, sooner or later it's going to happen. I think, and wins always give you the confidence to keep progressing. So, and Andrew's always going to keep pushing because again, he didn't seem happy after the game, did he? In terms of, we're all right, we've done more, and we were sticky, and probably our faults more so than the opposition's that how we played and all that. So, yeah, look, they will get better, and I think once the Champions League starts to come around as well, with competition for places, everyone wants to play. I think that's going to be even more key to driving the performances.
Was there any takeaways in terms of individuals from Sunday, Scott?
Look, I think it was difficult. It was a really, really sticky game for me. It was good to see Hatate actually coming back. That was a positive. David Turnbull's done well, in his replacement at the moment. I think for me, I still really like Giakoumakis when he comes on the pitch and the impact that he has every time he comes on for the club. Kyogo is just doing what he does. It wasn't, an amazing performance from him, but who really had an outstanding performance in the week? Who could you say, that was really outstanding. It was just one of those games where it was scored early and then it got a bit flat and a bit sloppy, and then had to wait all the way to the end to really kill the game off itself. But again, can be happy with the result, considering that you know Rangers dropped 2 points as well. So Celtic are in a fantastic position already.
I think that's it, Asim. I mean, we're 2 points clear. We've won every game so far by at least 2 goals. They've all been relatively comfortable victories, and yet I think there's so much more to come. We've got so many players in the periphery that I think can push for starts and really push the players that are starting at the moment. I thought Hatate looked really good when he came on Sunday. I feel he brings us something else in that midfield that no one else really does, just in terms of the speed he plays at and just how involved he gets in the game. I mean, that guy is everywhere. So I think he's going to be a really, really big player for us this season. We go ahead now to Tannadice on Sunday, Asim. Not a great place they're in at the moment, but as we know, Ange always says that the team will prepare to face the best Dundee United, and I'm guessing that if it's the best Dundee United, it'll be somewhere like the one that beat Alkmaar a few weeks ago, and if that's the case, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, we've seen that last season as well. Both ourselves and Rangers drop points at Tannadice. So they usually do give us quite a good game. I think we won in the cup one quite comfortably. Actually, we won in the league as well. The one where Tom Rogic scored that worldie. But we obviously drew the one that we clinched the title, and they do tend to raise their game. I think they're suited to that. Well, they were last season anyway. They were suited when they were maybe the underdogs, and similar to the kind of AZ Alkmaar game where they played a kind of high energy game, whereas when they're coming up against other teams like St Mirren, they're probably expected to take the game to them, and they've maybe struggled with that. So no, I do expect a tough game, but I think it's a good one for us to get back into it again. And it's the last one where we've got a free midweek this week, so I think after that the games really ramp up. So it'll be interesting to see the kind of lineup and what Ange goes with in the next couple of weeks as we lead up to obviously then the Derby game and then the first Champions League fixture. So no, I'm looking forward to it. Tannadice is always a good away day, good atmosphere, and I think, like Scott says, I think we've still got a couple of gears to click into. You look at some of our best players from last season, McGregor, Kyogo. Don't think they've kind of fully got going yet, and that's encouraging to think of what we'll be like when they even click in. I know Kyogo's been scoring, but yeah, I still think there's a lot more to come, and that for me is quite an exciting prospect.
Are we in danger, Scott, of just saying the same for every game at the moment, in that, yes, tough opposition, but if we turn up with the right attitude, which we pretty much always do, we should win?
Yeah, there's a lot of variables in games though that happen, and when you play away from home, you're expected to win. These games are always the tougher ones. When they're not in form, a team searching for something, the crowd will be right up for it. Tannadice is always a difficult place to go, right? And, when you go there with Celtic, it was always one of the most difficult places. Back in the day when Craig Levein was the manager of Dundee United, it was a different style of play that they played. Under Jack Ross, they're in a transitional period. Probably didn't get the window that he's probably wanted because he come in very late, to the job. I would say, getting the Dundee United job. So they're just trying to find their way with him, and vice versa with the players. But like you said there, they are capable of causing an upset. So this will be no easy game. There is no easy games. There never is. And then there's the expectations of what we're talking about. Yeah, winning, but could play a lot better. These games away from home, I just like to see Celtic win. I know everyone wants the performance as well. And more times than not, we get that. But when you go away from home, look at Easter Road there. Rangers going there. It's not always easy to go away from home. You really have to mix it with them first. You have to earn the right to play when you're the away team, particularly if you're Celtic. And it's not always easy. They make it look easy, but it's not as easy as that at times, to tell you that, guys, in terms of the work that you have to put in, and even the build up to it, and how they're in your faces. The crowd gets to be the 12th man, so you're up always against that sort of stuff as well. But an early goal, and the threats that Celtic possess, up that top area, it's really fearful for the opposition. I feel anyway, in the last sort of 18 months since Ange's been there. So they're in a really good place. and you just want to see them keep winning games. Because again, we talked about it last year. There was games where we're just grinding them out. They're not doing that at the moment, you would say.
No.
But the key principle in all is 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. And you just keep compounding the pressure on Rangers to keep trying to win.
I think it's quite a big one as well in the context of the league, even early on, because if we can win that, you go into the Derby game with a chance to go 5 clear, and it's at Celtic Park, and that really puts the pressure on them quite early on. So I think it's a great position for us to be in. We'll have navigated 3 tough away games. Should we get 3 points at the weekend, and that'll be perfect, setting us up 5 out of 5 going into that. Obviously, I'm not looking too far ahead, but I just think in the context of just keeping that pressure on, because them dropping last week the way they did, already it feels like we've got a chance to kind of put some early pressure on them.
Will we have Sead Haksabanovic to get us excited on Sunday? What's the gut tell you, Asim? Is he going to be signed in time for Sunday? Is he going to be part of the squad, or is he going to be a slow burner in terms of his introduction?
No, by all accounts, it looks like it's pretty much done. I think we might see an announcement maybe later today or tomorrow. And yeah, I think we can. Well, you're looking at our squad; it's strong right now. So you'd be looking to see who he'd come in for if he was to get a place on the bench, maybe. But yeah, I think he sounds like the profile of the kind of player that we all want to see. Exciting. He's got goals in him. He's got assists in him. And just talked about he likes someone that can play across a few positions. And I know I seen the video yesterday you had with the expert in Sweden, and he was saying that he is capable of that. So it looks like again the kind of profile that we've been going for lately. And I for one have been saying for a while that I do think it was a position that we needed strengthened in the kind of wing areas. Where he's going to fit in exactly is yet to be seen, because obviously I think last night it was mentioned that left wing's his preferred position as well. So we'll see how he fits in. But yeah, I don't think you can ever be short of good attacking options, and I feel like all our wide options now are different in profile, which is key as well, because it means that you can always vary it up. So you've got Jota with his creativity, and then Maeda with his kind of assists that he's getting. Abada's always chipping in with goals as well. So it's good to have a kind of mix of options, and I think that's what Sead will bring to the squad.
You're not going for the surname now?
Nah, I tried at the weekend and failed, so I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, very good.
Haksabanovic, is that right?
Yeah, very good, mate. Well done. Oscar Manson was the name of the Swedish reporter that we had on yesterday. Lots of people saying that he didn't seem much of a fan of Haksabanovic. The vibe I got was that he thinks there's potential there, but he's maybe just had bad guidance over the last 5 years or so. Hopefully, if he finds the right environment at Celtic, he can be a real success. So we're going to say hi to Haksabanovic very soon. We're saying bye to Christopher Jullien. He has signed for French Ligue 1 side Montpellier on a permanent deal. He took to Instagram yesterday, and just bear with me guys, to say, now is the time for goodbye. First of all, I would like to thank the fans for the warm welcome 3 years ago in Glasgow and being so honest with me through the up and downs. I liked your mentality, and as you saw, I gave everything on the pitch, and Paradise always responded. What a crowd. Some might think that I'm satisfied finishing this way. My time in the club that gave me the first championship of my career, I let them think again. Then I would like to thank the club for bringing me here. I came here to learn what winning mentality was, and I've learned so much during so many great games. So thank you to the Celtic organisation. Last but not least, I would like to thank my teammates, so many great players, my former coaches Neil Lennon, John Kennedy, and all the staff that was beside me during these 3 years. Once a Celtic, forever a Celtic. Come on, you boys in green. Hoops upside your head forever. A favourite Jullien memory, Scott?
Oh, it's got to be the cup final, doesn't it? Scores the winner against Rangers. I think that's the one he'll always be remembered for. I think the big guys been very unfortunate just with that injury that he got, because I really felt like he was being one of the dominant, figures in that Celtic team at that time. And then obviously the following season got that bad injury after his first year, and then the recovery's taken just so long for him to come back from that. New managers come in and had his own ideas, and he's just never really recovered fully from it, and he's had to go and find himself, somewhere else now to play football. It's as simple as that. And fortunately, that's football, and clubs have to move on when there is injuries, and he's just not found a place back in the team.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things here. I think from a Celtic point of view, Moritz Jens is probably going to offer more this season. In fact, he's already offered more this season than Jullien did in all of last year. But secondly, Asim, you do just, say thank you to a player who I think was a really good player for us, gave us that cup final winning goal, gave us a last minute winner against Lazio, gave us big performances as well away from the goals. I mean, I thought he was a cracking defender, certainly before his injury. I think there's going to be doubts for him going forward whether he'll ever be the same player. He certainly looked a yard slower to me from the limited glances we got at him. But you got a favourite memory away from the cup final, Asim?
Yeah, no, I'm similar to you. I really liked him. I thought part of that season, some of our best memories from that 9-in-a-row season was his kind of goals against, obviously the cup final, the Lazio one. That's the other one that sticks out for me, the header there. He scored a late winner at Hamilton, which was a kind of important time of the season as well, I remember, just after the New Year. And he seemed to really enjoy his time at the club. I remember the celebrations after that cup final, just the whole squad. It was, it was brilliant, and he seemed to really kind of enjoy that. And then obviously the COVID hit, and then the injury, and it's just been unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know how. I hope he does, get his form back at Montpellier. He was, for me, he was a good signing, and he served as well. Sad to see him go, but you could tell obviously he just wasn't in Ange's plans for the upcoming season. So yeah, wish him all the best. But some great memories, like you say.
Yeah, thanks very much, Christopher Jullien, for the memories. We will move on to tomorrow and the Champions League. First of all, Celtic did release ticket details for the group stage yesterday. Headline number is £129 for adult season ticket holders, so that's £43 per match if my maths is correct. Concessions £33 per match, under 13s £30 per match. I think everyone will have their own thoughts on this, Asim. My own were that they're relatively reasonable from the club, but we all know about the cost of living crisis. Have you got any thoughts on it at all?
Yeah, I think from what I've read, it's about a £5 increase for season ticket holders from what they were back in 2017. I think it was about £38 a ticket. Yeah, I think to be expected. I think a lot of us probably thought it was going to be in this kind of mark, and as you said, it's for every individual to decide what is reasonable and what isn't. Could it have been a bit less? Possibly. We've got Champions League money this season guaranteed for the first time in a while. We've got quite a few saleable assets as well that, in the up and coming seasons, could they have maybe kept them at a lower price potentially? But at the same time, I don't think it's not totally unreasonable. And you're looking at the kind of names that we're going to get. I think in past seasons, it's maybe not been as strong. Well, it has, but you're looking at potentially 2, even maybe 3 really, really top European clubs potentially in that draw. So I think it's probably reasonable, yeah.
Yes, right. Let's move on to that draw. There's actually a draw simulator online, guys. It's very detailed. It basically follows the exact same format as tomorrow's draw. So I plugged it in earlier on, and this is what I got. Look at Group D there. Celtic alongside Ajax, Barcelona and Napoli. Would you fancy a go at that, Scott?
It's not a bad one. It's certainly not a bad one. I like the thoughts of Ajax. They're in, obviously, pot 1. Napoli's a very, very difficult place to go. Barcelona, again, for everyone. I'm not sure that's going to be everyone's first choice. Look, I don't think there will be a lot of people out there that just don't care. They're just going to be just up for the task. They want to go further than the group stages, and everyone's just super excited that Champions League football's back at Celtic Park again, and able to see these world-class players come and test themselves against the very best. And again, I talked about it last week, I hope that Ange can really make Celtic Park a fortress once again in European football, because the record, if you look at it, it's been really, really poor in recent times. In the Europa League, apart from probably you even have to say Lenny's time. The last time they were in the Europa League under Lenny, that was good, but there's been a lot of poor performances at Celtic, or just not results realistically. So if they can get that back to being the fortress that it once was, then they've got a great opportunity, I think. no matter who they play against.
I mean, we'll come into the draw in a second. When you look back at the team that you played in, would it be fair to say that, you kind of outperformed maybe what many would have expected in the group stage? How did you? Have you get any theories for why you were so strong at home? Most seasons winning 3 games out of 3.
I think it's just mentality at that point. I think Celtic Park was. I came into that where it was already inbuilt in the club. I think under Martin O'Neill era, that was inbuilt throughout that, and it was just carried forward from those days that Martin O'Neill had set out within European football, albeit still never got through to the round of 16 under Martin. They were unlucky a couple of times, obviously still getting all the results at home, but not having enough points on the board to get through. But I think, in my time, they'd already qualified the year before that under Gordon Strachan for the round of 16, playing Milan in the round of 16 that time, and we carried that on after a really, really poor performance away at Shakhtar in our first game in the Champions League to come back from that, and that was all down to us winning all 3 games at home. We managed to get through to the next phase. So in I think if you look at any team that goes through, your home form is the most important thing. You have to win your home games to give yourself the chance. It's very, exceptional if you win your games away from home and don't win your games at home that you actually get through. There's not many teams that do that. So it's going to be the home games that are going to really, tell us if Celtic are going to get through to the next stages or not.
Yeah. So who will we be facing then? We'll obviously find out tomorrow. Benfica qualified last night. They became the 24th of our potential opponents, the final one. So we now have the full picture, guys, for who we could face in the draw tomorrow, and some pretty decent names there, it'd be fair to say. Just a reminder that we could face any of those 24, but that 2 teams from the same country can't be in the same group. So for example, we couldn't draw Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig, for example. So it's 1 team from each pot there. If we work our way through some sort of kind of dream scenario, Asim, the draw that you want to see us get, and you can have a glamorous Real Madrid in there if you want.
I was going to ask as well, Scott, as a player, did you prefer the easiest potential opponents, or did you look for glamour? Because I'm looking at that there and I'm thinking, yes, I'd like Real Madrid, but at the same time, if you could get a draw of Frankfurt, I don't know, from Pot B, maybe Sevilla and Sporting Lisbon, that's a group that I feel like we could compete in, and you'd be looking to try and get points off all those.
But that's the problem, though, isn't it? Because then there's the expectation. So, and that comes with what comes with that is added pressure and disappointment at the end of it for the supporters, or they go into the game saying we should win this one tonight. How many times have we seen that? Recent times in Europa League, and at times and not come through with the result that you want. So, looking back at that, obviously what you had up there, Hamish, it's the first 3 and the first one in every pot. I would take that's the glamour right there. Real Madrid, Liverpool, just because of the history of the 2 teams. Whenever they played against each other in Europe as well, there've been some events, in terms of everyone at the beginning of the games, and then obviously Borussia Dortmund, who you love the wall that they have, and I think it would be fantastic for Celtic to go there as well, with the atmosphere as well, and what they would bring coming back to Celtic Park. So, and I think they're 3 sort of teams that, albeit yes, you've played Liverpool in more recent times, but the other 2 Celtic haven't. So I think they'd be amazing trips for the supporters as well. But also glamour ties, and you asked me the question, I always wanted the glamour one. We always want to play against the best players in the world. You want to have those big events. So if you're a Celtic player right now, I think they're all looking at those ones and wanting the bigger, better for them, because that's why you're in it. That's what you want to be. That's why you want to be in it.
Imagine the 3 nights at Celtic Park. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Dortmund. Wow.
It'd be ridiculous, wouldn't
it? I guess it depends as well on what our kind of expectations as fans and as a club in terms of Europe this season. Obviously last season was Andrew's first, and if you look back, even under Neil Lennon's first tenure, Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, it was often the second season in Europe that we've seen tangible progress. I think with Gordon Strachan, we qualified in a group of Man United,
Copenhagen and
Benfica, Same with Neil Lennon with the Barca, Benfica, and Spartak. So this is Ange's second season, but I think the Champions League's changed so much as well. You look back when your teams in pot two, where your Benficas, your Spartak. Now you're looking at big heavyweights in each pot. So it's all obviously going to come down to the luck of the draw. But I think you're right, Scott, as well. Back then, I think there was more expectation. So even in your time, you look at, I think we had 1 year United, Villarreal, Aalborg, and I think everyone expected us just to take 6 points off Aalborg. And
we were quite disappointed with that draw, as players.
Oh, really?
You go Aalborg and you're going, Aalborg? Denmark, like, what's that? What's that whole 10,000? Is that it? You go, it'll be -2. We've got to go there. All right then. And we ended up drawing with them both home and away. I think Villarreal was another one where Celtic had played them in more recent times. And you're looking at that as well. That's not a glamour stadium or a glamour place to go. It's almost in the middle of nowhere, realistically, when you travel out there, and there's not a lot around that area itself. Obviously had some really good players playing for them, like Marcos Senna at the time and Riquelme, but you were a bit disappointed with those ties as a player. You wanted the bigger ones again, like we had the previous year with Milan's, and I consider Benfica a big club and playing in their massive stadium and whatnot. And then Shakhtar was an interesting one because they were a money team more or less, in terms of what they had, and there was a lot of unknown with them, but they spent big money, and you felt that they were going to be the weaker one, and then they spanked you 3-0 in the first game. You go, well, welcome to the Champions League. It's not as easy as you think, and there is no easy games, guys. That's for sure. But it's just amazing to be in it, and you see all those teams that are in there. Yes, if you're picking it again, you would want someone like Ajax, at the very top. I know Celtic have played a lot of them. Would you want a Frankfurt? Maybe. That pot two is so strong. Sevilla's, a good team in Europe. But that pot two is probably arguably stronger than pot one, you would say. And then there is still a lot of Sporting Lisbon, would you say, in pot three is probably the other one that you would say, okay, they're a little bit weaker. Is that Inter, is it? Sorry. The badge, they've changed their badge, haven't they? It's Inter Milan. Yeah, so almost caught me off there with that badge. But so there's just so many superpowers in there. It's phenomenal, So it's going to be exciting tomorrow, the draw. But you just hope it's not similar ones to what Celtic have played against in more recent times.
Asim, you've dodged the question, mate. Who do you want Celtic to get? Go on.
Well, I'm also looking at it as a fan, looking at potential away days. I don't know about yourself, Hamish, but I'm quite fancying a couple of away trips. Going to have Skyscanner at the ready. I'm thinking, for me, I know what Scott's saying, but I would take Frankfurt from pot one, I would take Sevilla from pot two, and I would take Sporting Lisbon from pot three. And I think they're all good teams, good trips, and also with a chance of potentially progression, be it depending on which competition. But I just think we'd be able to compete with all those three. Maybe not the glamour, but Sevilla is still a big team. That would be my three: Frankfurt, Sevilla, and Sporting Lisbon.
Okay, I'm kind of taking a leaf out of both of your books, guys. I'm going Real Madrid, I'm going RB Leipzig, and I'm going Sporting Lisbon. A bit of glamour, but two teams that I think Celtic could beat at Celtic Park in terms of Leipzig and Sporting Lisbon. And I think, you're asking about expectations, Asim. For me, the expectation, maybe not expectation, but the hope is that third place, if we get a favourable group, at least one team that we can really compete with, we're able to find a way into the Europa League after Christmas. That's where I'd want to be. In terms of nightmare stuff, I was looking at Bayern Munich's record in the group stage, 18 points last season, 16 the year before, 18 the year before that. So for me, given that we played them recently, they're a side I'd want to avoid. I just think they batter teams in the group stage. Liverpool, and I wouldn't fancy play. I mean, it'd be brilliant, but as a pot two team, as much as they're struggling at the moment, Liverpool would be very tough. And I just think Inter are the team from pot three I'd want to avoid as well. So for me, it's a bit of glamour. Real Madrid basically, but anyone else, and AC Milan could be glamorous and also give us a chance possibly of getting a result, as much as they're the champions of Italy. So it's just so varied, Asim. It could go anyway.
Another thing with Madrid is they tend to ship some points in the groups. Usually, I'm sure they
Yeah,
lost
they're a knockout team.
to Sheriff Moldova. Yeah, they are, and so you know you wouldn't mind that. I'd probably rather avoid one of the English teams. I don't know. I think, like you said, I think Man City for me, I would rather avoid from pot one. Liverpool would be a great occasion, but yeah, I'd rather avoid the English teams. I don't know how you felt, Scott. Did you enjoy the games with United? Obviously, good memories for you, but
Yeah, look, they were good for us because that the old Battle of Britain thing and what that brings, and the extra hype and the attention around those games as a player as well, because it's on your home soil. It's all over Sky constantly because it's two British teams. At it. So it brings the extra attention to it. So it's always good that the extra hype
yeah,
around the game. And look, I just think about growing up as a kid and that Liverpool game and just the atmosphere before the game. I quite fancy that one, guys. I really do. I'd love to see it.
Van Dijk, Robertson, etc. back at Celtic Park. That would be fun. Right, guys, we'll call it there because otherwise I think we could just chat for the next hour about who we want Celtic to face. Why don't we just see how the draw goes and then we'll take it from there. The draw starts, and I say start at 5 p.m. It'll probably start much later than that after UEFA do all their usual stuff. BT Sport are showing it, UEFA website as well. We'll have an immediate reaction afterwards. John is going to lead that, as I'll actually be at Celtic Park because the club have put a wee event on where we'll get to speak to a player after the draw. So exciting stuff. It's all happening. Scott, Asim, thank you very much. We'll catch up with both of you very soon. Enjoy the draw tomorrow, everyone. Hopefully it's a good one, whatever way you take that, and we'll speak to you very soon.